Hey everyone, welcome to Smash Trivia. I'm your host, Smash Trivia John. You can find me on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram by searching Smash Trivia to follow everything happening with me. I'll be the one with the big old green head in the profile picture. So excited to get into this. This is the Gamma Analysis. Basically, in this series, I'm going to review everything Hulk, all the movies, TV shows, and I also do random other geeky films. Occasionally, not so geeky ones too. And I also like to mix things up once in a while by not reviewing anything. Hope you enjoy Smash Trivia Presents The Gamma Analysis. I want to ask everyone listening if they can please do something for me. Please share the hell out of this podcast with all your friends. If you don't, Hulk will be angry. And Smash Trivia has a Patreon too, so please check that out. We have some fantastic extra content on there. I bet you'll have a Hulk smashing good time. The tiers are as follows: $1 a month is Hulkaholic for $1, $3 a month is the Reading Room with Hulky and Shulky, and $5 a month is Smashing the TV. I also now offer custom trivia games on Fiverr, so if you want to take your game night to the next level, you can hire me. A link to the Fiverr is in the episode description. Now that we have all that important stuff out of the way, let's smash right into this episode. Happy Halloween, everyone! I say that because I'm releasing this episode of Halloween. And hello, my Gamma friends. Today I'm joined by Sherrice, Ace, the fiance of my brother Gregory. How are you doing, Sherrice?
I'm good. How are you, John?
I'm doing good. We're gonna review Bloodsucking Bastards. This is a vampire workplace horror comedy. Oh, it's quite a ridiculous film. But first, as always, for our alcohol for $1, we have Derek Sager, Gabriel Floral, and Film Critter. And due to the Hollywood strike, I'm trying not to review any struck content, aka stuff from the AMPTP. And I believe that this film is not struck because it does not come from any of those big companies. So this film, this was something I enjoyed the second half of it, or maybe like the third act of it. Aside, I so much more than the beginning. The beginning just feels so boring.
I actually have to agree with you. I tuned out somewhere around I want to call it like the first hour. And I tried my hardest, including watching it, to focus about the second, and it actually caught my attention.
Yeah, like
which was sad.
it was like for the first part of it, it's like it's not it's pretty boring, not much is happening, and also a lot of the jokes just aren't landing, and then near to the end, everything just goes to hell, and it's hilarious as for the last part of it, I think.
It's kind of like, and I don't get, I mean, you might not have saw this, but it's like they realized how much time they had already recorded of the movie and were like, crap, let's just press fast forward on the end.
Yeah.
So, no, you're good.
Yeah. I was watching it a second time. I'm today just to make sure all my thoughts are fresh, and like I noticed near at the end when the guy with the mustache Ash says, "Oh, another workday done." I was like, already? I thought we were at the start of this day.
Oh my goodness, that's Tim, right? Because I loved his
Yeah,
one
Tim.
quote. He kept saying, what was it? Bam, snap.
Mhm.
That's and there's something about that just stuck in my head, even at the end, like past the movie. I did because, of course, you know my background. All I've ever done is HR, and of course, I worked in the workplace.
Yeah.
So it did give me flashbacks to actually what our corporate America is, And I laughed at the boss telling them like, I've looked up y'all's hard drives. I know all y'all do is watch porn. I actually
Yeah.
laughed at that.
Oh yeah. No. Yeah, I was like, in the beginning when we have the first conversation with the lady from HR, I was like, This feels so strange that they're just openly saying that she's hot and and she's just like, well, thanks. Like, I'm like,
I couldn't
what?
lie to you. John, that was my history. Like that was it.
What?
This is
That's
I
about
would
the
say this.
worst person to tell that.
So many people would say it to me like that. And so I felt for that character. Oh gosh, I'm trying to remember her name right now off the top of my head. But I felt for her because that is HR. Like to a degree, we a lot of them borderline on the appropriate things to say. Like and they kept saying it to Amanda, like telling her she's hot. Like they'd go in the office cussing, and it was so funny. She listened to everything they said, but when they started screaming about vampires or something's wrong, now all of a sudden she's in complete denial and it's inappropriate for the workplace.
Oh, I particularly found it strange when like she responded to how one of them said that I banged my neighbor and she was and, like she was proud of them or something. I'm like, hey, okay,
Oh
the
yeah.
HR person said that.
Oh gosh, it was the very beginning, and that caught me off guard where they started the plot between her and the main character, and she walks by and she's like, yeah, he's like, oh, I banged so and so. She's like, finally, yeah,
Like
good job.
what?
So that was really funny for me.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see.
Oh god.
I will say out of everything that I've had to find humor in it, the funniest thing to me was actually watching um Ted, I guess I'll call him director, when everything came to light at the end, because he played really dumb, really good for the whole movie.
Oh yeah, he was great at acting. Like
He,
he didn't know what was going on.
none. And so for that, like that little part to come undone, and they're like, yeah, there's vampires, and he's just like, oh
Mm.
yeah, I could have deal with them. Sales was failing. It was truly,
Oh
actually, for
yeah.
me, the funniest scene.
I one thing I really enjoyed was when they get that at the end of trying to explain to the HR lady Mandy that what was going on, and he tried to persuade her by being like, I love you, and she just was like, no. I loved that. I
That was
loved that.
icing.
That was a perfect response because of how he treated her.
Oh my gosh. And I think it was even more funny towards the end. And I did love the ending because, Ted
Mhm.
opens the door and, you just seen the explosion and everything. And Ted opens the door and he's like, oh my goodness. First he says, this is
Yeah,
the grossest thing I've ever seen.
Tim.
Tim,
Tim, not Ted. Ted's
sorry.
the boss.
That's right. Tim, sorry. Tim first says, this is the grossest thing I've ever seen. And then
Yeah.
opens the door and he's like, stand corrected.
Yeah, that was great. Another thing that I loved was how at the very end, and we find out that Tim's mom listened in on everything that just happened.
That was awesome. That truly was. Though I did give it to not to HR, to the janitor, for to know he was cleaning everything this entire time, because we saw the bathroom when the first victim got,
Hmm.
and then you go back,
Uh,
what was it, like less than 5 minutes later,
oh
and
yeah.
it's spotless. Like
I mean, he probably licked it clean.
he had to. Sorry, he had to, because I was laughing at the fact that when they were discussing, when the janitor, he was discussing, how I got turned first. I have to say it was well written, because they were like, oh, Max changed me first, and they're like, oh my goodness, that's the smartest thing ever. Change the vampire, I mean, change the janitor, and he can clean everything for
Hmm.
you. So that was, I thought,
Yeah.
was like, okay, that's smart.
Oh yeah, definitely. Uh, oh, I feel like the one thing that I think absolutely was really dumb that happened was how when when the main character first tries to tell HR about all this happening, he doesn't think to say it's not just me who thinks this is happening, thinks something is happening, and since the security guy saw the blood. He had a little bit of he got a little bit on his hand.
I thought that was strange too. Every
Like
time he reported it, it was never, I found me and so and so found evidence, or
Hmm.
I'm gonna loop in. He just kept running into every room
Yeah.
going, something's wrong,
Yeah.
with no evidence. Like, even when, what was it, they were quote unquote downsizing, HR wouldn't think it's weird. People are just disappearing without turning in notice or anything.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. I loved when we got the like flashbacks of acts of to reveal how Tim and the security guy, I Frank, both all knew about everything happening.
Oh, that was icing on the cake. As far as, I mean, I didn't care. I love horror. And of course, the blood and guts could have used some work. But when they
Mhm.
flash back every scene to kind of like, what was it? They did Tim first, which I was like, oh my
Mhm.
goodness, how did no one see him not there? And then that security guard, when they replayed the scenes, I was like, okay, this is icing on the cake. This
Yeah.
is this is funny.
It makes me wonder how late was that actually into the night that the one guy that Andrew got bitten because that you saw that both Tim and Frank the security guard are were sitting there as Andrew was getting a bin and having sex with that lady, which was strange because they were supposed to be at a Kelly Clarkson concert that night.
I forgot about that.
So was it just really early in the night actually, or was that all a lie that they were going to Kelly Clarkson?
It had to have been a lie, only because if you remember, sorry, he convinces one of his colleagues, to stay behind, work
Mm-hmm.
with him. And as soon as he turns to Tim, the first thing he jumps up is like, what, five? I would guess 5 o'clock, end of a shift. And he's
Yeah.
like, oh, concert. And he runs off. So either he just comes back to work to hang out with the security guard. Maybe that's what happens.
Uh,
I don't know, but I didn't even catch that. That was a good one.
maybe maybe he was he though he was gonna go to the concert. Maybe he went down and hid in the basement for a while, out hopes that the guy who wants $20 from him leaves work in time before then.
Which that now that we bring up, I'm gonna call them the debt collector. That's my nickname for him.
Oh man, I love that guy.
I loved him. His evolution through that whole movie was
Yeah.
priceless. Like, he's this, you know, I guess would you say, like, not intimidating, little character who just helps everybody and collects when they have
Mhm.
wages for like football games. And the way with that, was it a knife I think he had, or a toothpick? Whatever he threw at when he was like,
Oh yeah.
give me the $20. I was like, okay, he got some backbone once he got turned.
Yep. Oh, one thing with the turning that I found so strange was how everyone when they changed, they their skin became pale, but Pedro Pascal, Al's character Max, who actually was the head of these vampires. He was always full of color in his skin.
He was, and I'm assuming maybe it's because he was the leader or alpha or whatever you
Maybe.
want to. I did catch that. Like, everyone, even I cannot remember Tim's best friend, the one they got changed, because I love the
The,
rock paper scissor. What was that one?
Andrew.
Andrew playing rock paper scissor, and of course, he looked like
Uh-huh.
a vampire. But that was just hilarious. Where he's like, "Oh, you can live off animals." No, dude, that's sick.
Uh,
Oh, okay. Well, rock paper scissor.
uh.
Whoever loses dies. And watching that, and then they go, "Oh, you lost. Yeah, wanted to go round two." I'm like, "Do you not realize your life is in stake?"
Oh man, I think they just trust each other to be willing to follow with the game. I guess. Yeah,
At the end,
no,
I
it's
don't
fine.
think this is going to knock on wood if my job ever hears me say this. I don't think it was a bad move by corporate, because everyone became effective after they became.
And yeah, yeah, that's honestly probably very smart. To be honest, I find it strange that I that Tim did not want to become a vampire because I'm like he feels like the kind of person who probably would.
He did.
And
Like,
like to be honest, if I got the chance to I'd probably be like, Yeah, I'd like to become a vampire. That sounds fun.
Right? I mean, hey, I don't have to worry about buying groceries, just gotta snatch a person off the street.
I don't have to grow old.
Right? My because their hair never moved, like perfect hair all the time.
Yeah, I don't have to worry about how going bald.
Right?
Worry about the fact that that people seem to die I earlier in life in my family.
Exactly. I can stay up late. I don't have to go to bed when
Yeah.
it gets dark. I mean, it was
Mm-hmm.
so there were, like I said, there were things that for me, because I mean, it is a comedy and horror, right? I mean, it's
Yeah.
classified in both genres.
Yeah.
It was more comedy than horror. Like
Oh
I
yeah.
didn't,
Definitely. There's nothing scary in it.
nothing really, most of the scenes were kind of predictable, a
Yeah.
little
I
bit,
didn't even say that.
So I mean, there were some things, but I think all in all, because I used to be a huge it's an old channel. I don't even know if they do it anymore. Chiller channel where those B-rated movies come on. That's where I'd watch the horror
Okay.
movies. And so I feel like it fit, the standard good time
Mhm.
Halloween movie,
Feel
that
like
kind of setup.
I feel like though I don't know if that sign is still a thing or not. I feel like if that is something that you like watching a lot, maybe look into the streaming service Shudder, that which is a streaming service all about out horror films,
Right.
and
Okay.
I'm pretty sure a lot of them would probably be rated stuff.
I mean, B-rate's kind of funny. Like, and we kind of laughed at watching it. I
Oh
mean, our
yeah,
our responses was when we text each other like, "We finished." Oh, I liked it, but it was interesting.
yeah, it's very definitely something. I I feel like most roles that I've seen in Pedro Pascal, and he's much more likable than this one.
Yeah. Oh, he played. So it was like his character was a mix of vampire and college frat boy, I guess.
Yeah, I guess.
The guy who beat you up in school or something like that. He had,
Hmm.
and I didn't like his character, but I just like him so much as an actor. I still found
Hmm.
myself liking the
Yeah,
character.
yeah. It's enjoyable. He's an enjoyable asshole, but he's definitely an asshole.
Definitely spent like what the answering the girl's phone, and I was so confused by
Yeah.
that scene. She was okay with it. Like she walks in the room and she's like, "Are you on my phone?" And he is literally having a conversation with her ex-boyfriend.
Yeah.
She's just like, "Okay, as long as I don't have to talk to him." I'm like, "Wait a minute, you got my
Yeah,
phone?"
I probably wouldn't want to talk to my ex in the middle of my date either. Though she doesn't really think it's a date.
Yeah, but yet he is on her couch and I don't know if she had cooked dinner. I know she
Uh,
saw a dish in her
yeah.
plate. I don't know what's going on there.
Yeah,
Someone,
he had said that he ate something that she had made.
yeah, I don't know. But
Uh,
again, still not the worst I've ever seen.
uh, um, it was funny when and really briefly Matthew Lillard showed up as the head of the have the people from the Falsite group.
I love that. I'm such a huge fan of him as a kid.
Oh yeah.
That little just cameo made my whole.
Oh man, yeah. I love Matthew Lillard. He's such a he is able to do both comedy and being terrifying so well. Like,
Right? And
oh
that
yeah,
little
I
clip, what was it? You fully felt, and forgive me for throwing him in this, but you felt that old school Shaggy feel when he saw was up. Like he didn't even mention it. He just went with it like,
go go
oh.
go 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 go.
I did like that scene. That was
Yeah,
wrote, really well for that little moment with his
I
drop in.
there was a show that I watched recently, and where he popped up for one episode, and it was he was awesome at it as so he was playing this character who is a an assassin who is a I think it's sociopath. So, he's not supposed to like have feelings or something.
Right.
I and he and But he's like just the most lovable guy ever.
Oh my, I have to watch that because, like I said,
It was so funny.
seeing him in it did make me like smile and be like, man, I wonder if I can find another B-rated movie with him in it, just for fun or whatever.
Hmm.
But I mean, there were good lines. Like you said, there was a couple of jokes that didn't stick. Like you could see the
Yeah,
connection, but it didn't go through all the way.
yeah. It's like I would say probably about like 80% of the stuff in the first half of the film is just like what? Okay.
That's the thing too. Though I did laugh at the girl where he Max I forget the character's name, but Max goes to bite her. You can tell I guess she was supposed to be the office. Well, she said she was a virgin, but the office virgin, and he goes
Hmm.
to bite her, or he says, "I want you" or something, and she's just like, "I'm a virgin." I was like, "Oh my goodness, why did they do that to her?"
Yeah, yeah. I really enjoyed when Tim decided he'd stand up for main character or to Mandy, and then all of a sudden we just see the character or we see Tim and just looking to the side, and then and like 5 seconds later it pans over to so that so that he's just there in the room hearing them talk about him.
Oh yeah, I did. I did like that because he called her on it. He really did call her like,
Yeah.
you know. What she said. I don't want to talk about it. He's like, you're
Mhm.
gonna talk about it. I was just like, okay, he
Uh,
has his friend back. Makes his
um,
friend life hell at work, but he has his.
yeah. I mean,
Which
yeah.
why did he want to be head manager when nobody respected him? Was that first half you spend what like
Mhm.
the hour he's chasing behind everyone, you know, and then I guess at the end it kind of balanced out because he saved everybody, but at the same time everybody's
I
dead.
mean, yeah, I don't know about if save everybody's the right word.
I mean, I guess he saved the rest of the world.
I, I did really enjoy at the end and how um Andrew, the only person left, he just bites the maid and it's just like my office in 10, and as he's just decided he's now in charge.
I did enjoy that. I did. Well, to be honest with you though, the cute it was kind of it was I don't call it cute, but it was from like I said, from someone who does what I do for a living. Watching Max talk to his assistant. Of course, the battle's going on. This is like the, almost final scene. And you see him going, okay, so at what point do we jump in and help them? And
Oh
clearly his
yeah.
entire vampire team is getting their butt handed to them. And you see Max go, we're supposed to lead them. I mean, we just kind of give coaching advice. And I'm like, why does this sound like corporate America instantly with management?
Oh
And that was great too when he didn't care. And they're like, we killed everyone. And the lawyers came out of nowhere.
yeah. Oh yeah. I loved when right after her killing her first vampire, Andy's it's like, do they explode like this every time?
The explosion thing, I wonder where they got that from. I know they used to do
I
it.
feel like that's something I've seen some different vampire things do before.
So originally, again, I've watched a lot of B-rated stuff. I don't know if you remember, of course, most people do Tales of the Crypt. It's an old movie, Blood of something. That was what their vampires did. So that I thought that was a great kudos to that if they were trying to like,
Uh-huh.
that was impressive to me. I was like, okay, I haven't seen the exploding in a while. I've seen glitter vampires, I've seen turn to ashes, but liquid
Hmm.
explosion. That's different.
Yeah. Oh man, I really enjoy the first associate of them actually killing a vampire with the janitor, and like as he's about to explode, the security guy's like, it came from the stick came from. He doesn't finish that sentence. I think everybody knows where that stick was.
Oh, oh, that was funny. Oh my, and it was so sad because the security guard was so confident about those
Uh,
weapons because he was like, I have just the thing for this.
man, I loved the security guard in this. He was great.
It was so funny because he had a security guard profile, but it was that military where they are like terrified to even ask him anything. That was also awesome for me.
Oh yeah. One thing I couldn't understand, and like the only thing I could think of as a connection, so he kept calling Evan, the main character, Colonel Sanders, and like I feel like the only connection I can think of is that Evan's white, but Colonel Sanders is white. But if you're gonna call someone Colonel Sanders, I feel like it makes more sense to call Tim Colonel Sanders.
That I could agree with that. I'm not too sure where he got that
Yeah,
reference
I'm like,
from.
what was that? Why was he calling Kevin that all the time?
I don't know. Like that was it was kind of awkward. I mean, and then of course you knew Tim. I think maybe he didn't do it to Tim because that was like his best friend, kind of, sort of, or at least or work best
I
friend. Because
guess.
you get a work wife, you get a work husband, you get a work bestie. Maybe that was his work bestie. I don't know.
Seems like that. Like Tim might have been the only person he knew at work, so I'm not surprised by that.
I mean, you gotta be close if you two can eat lunch and watch someone die by a vampire. I mean, you just have to be close for that. And
Yeah.
neither of them, you notice they never freak out really watching. If you remember those scenes, they're just sitting there like, oh, so this is what happened.
Oh yeah. It's just like so funny how he just Tim just happened to not mention how Frank had seen all this stuff too.
Right. But I actually, now that I truly think about it, my favorite thing out of everything Frank probably said in the entire movie was after he stabs them, like, oh, Wikipedia didn't mention anything about this. Like, and it just made me laugh because I'm like, oh gosh, how many times have I gone to Wikipedia for instance?
Oh yeah. Oh man, like he really tried to put like as they could see like he had fought vampires before, then finally admitted I looked up stuff on Wikipedia.
Right. Well, of course you had to because remember, just the car full of stuff, and then I did like at least instead of being like, oh, we're totally screwed, we have no weapons. What do? They go to the office supplies, and what they make crosses out of pencils.
Yeah, well, I don't even think they were particularly trying to do it. Just Tim just got a bunch of pencils because he thought they would work as stakes, and I later after one didn't work as a stake, he's like he just decided to turn it into a cross.
It
And
worked.
to be honest, I don't really think it did. The guy wasn't like the guy was just standing over him. And I'm pretty sure the only reason he didn't kill him was because he hadn't gotten his $20.
Probably, I'm saying it worked for him
Not
because
because
I called that, what is it, incentive at work. You take what you got, or is it like motivation, and you make it work in the moment. He really did. I mean, he didn't have a cross, and what you do in work, you make things work with a little bit. So I mean, but I did think it was funny when they were like, what was the janitor's name? Like no one could remember the janitor's name.
yeah.
And I think, was it, oh gosh, the two friends. I think the janitor was like, do you even know my name? They're like, janitor? I'm
Yeah.
like, well, you know what?
Oh
That's
yeah.
yeah.
Oh man. That was funny how like at the beginning when we first see a someone get killed right before that the like he's taking stuff some a bag out to the trash even though that's not his job and the janitor shows up out of nowhere. It's just like, yeah, you got a janitor. and and, and immediately after the security guard leaves and the guy's like, can you take this please? He's like,
Oh,
thank you for helping.
that
And
was
just
so messed
leaves.
up. I really thought they were just like they were true
Oh
true a-holes in that scene. But I mean,
yeah. Oh
again, they're like their own little community of I don't care about anyone. And that's like the
Yeah,
whole first half.
yeah. As outside of Mandy, is there anyone in this film that's not an a-hole?
I mean, now that I think, hold on. And now you actually have me sitting here like, no, they all were, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, okay. I was about to say she was to Evan, but he kind of deserved it with the no sentence, telling her no, that I love you. So whatever.
Yeah, like really is just about the worst response you can give to in that scenario.
But the guys did have a debate on that. Like in the first, was it 20 minutes when they're like, no, when was it Tim who recaps the story? He's like, she said the worst possible thing to I love you. They're like, what? No. And they're like, dude, you could have said anything. So that was
I
cute.
was like, I feel like the only thing that could possibly worse than saying no is him just saying, "I'm cheating on you."
Okay,
As
that
a
beats no.
response, like
That
that's
beats
probably
no.
about the only response that you could give that would be worse than no in that situation.
Yeah, you're right. That tops no. That really does. But the
Oh
poor
yeah,
guy, he tried. He spent the whole
yeah.
movie trying to redeem himself. He tried.
Uh, happily, I think he did a good job of redeeming himself by the end.
Well, again, I did, like I said, I appreciate the movie because, of course, with everything going on, I haven't gotten my, um, little bit of, Pedro, because of everything. So this was a great reminder of how good of an actor he
Oh yeah,
is.
he's a lot of fun.
He was charismatic. Like he plays the role so well. You're like, I could have a boss who's a total d-bag like him and just be okay with it. And what was his opening speech for why they sell things actually wasn't that bad.
Yeah, though. Oh yeah, as he said later, that was not at all the truth. They sold fear and not dreams, which is very accurate for I feel like a pharmaceutical company. They sell fear.
They do. And he didn't even like lie. I feel like he didn't really lie to anybody coming in. I mean, at the end of his whole speech, what was it? Ted even says, hey, you don't make your sales and do your job. Don't worry, Max will kill you. I mean, I felt like he didn't lie at least.
Yeah. Oh my god. That was fun. Yeah, this film is just so ridiculous.
It's really ridiculous. I did like the poster for it. So, of course, you look it up.
Hmm.
It had best of both worlds, that corporate look, but let's just smear blood all over it to really sell the fact it sucks the life out of you.
Yeah, I was really funny with it, like when the security guy explained how the vampires are fine here because there's very few windows and
Right?
it's set up so that there's no distractions whatsoever.
I did think about my job history
Holy
when I saw that
shit!
scene. I'm like, wait a minute. They make corporate vampires. Like when you think about it. But I mean, again, it's still really good. Like for what it was, and that's what
Hmm.
I meant by say for what it was. It really,
Oh,
it's a slow. I'm gonna lie to any viewer who turns it on just for fun or who listens to that. It because I swear at one point I double blinked to be like, am I still watching the same movie in the middle? But
yeah. It's like it is a hard time getting through the first part.
yeah, the first part was a bit of a pill to swallow. But after that, I feel like towards the middle to end, the jokes, like you said, that struggle in the beginning, they have the jokes that the jokes started to land in the end. You
Mm.
know,
Oh yeah.
um, because that first death, the first scene with the intern, because again, I love horror, but watching, I don't even know if you heard it, the head against the trash can sounded like someone knocking cardboard.
Oh god.
It sounds so horrible. And then they randomly threw blood in the background, and I was just like, "Oh, not this kind of movie. Oh no!"
Oh
So
yeah.
the end saved it.
It was really funny when we find out that they literally have not disposed of the bodies. They're just in the dumpsters, and the security guard just explains, "Oh, yeah, well, pickup is on Saturdays, and it's a $60 fee if you want to get special pickup."
I did like that. Like, I mean, we're not paying that extra money. Those bodies can sit there. But hey, wait, John, there's no sunlight, so it's not like they're sitting in the sun. I mean, they can't rot, so
Well, they're not. The bodies in there aren't vampires, so they probably still could rot. I would think.
I mean, yeah, but the sun at least won't bake the bodies, so no real heavy
Yeah.
smell. And then what was it? They kept turning up the air, so basically a refrigerator with, office supplies.
Yes.
But no, I mean, I do appreciate you definitely encouraging me to watch it with the podcast and everything because it
Mhm.
gave me something to look forward to after work. I mean,
Yes.
and
I'm
I do
glad.
appreciate that.
I'm glad. This is. I feel like this is a film where a best watch would be watching it with friends. You're
Yeah.
like this is a film where watching alone, it would, if we weren't doing it for this podcast, we would have probably turned it off very quickly.
Yeah, and not gave it a chance. That again, I did for the first half, went, all right, I'm watching it for the podcast. And then towards the end, I was like, okay, we picked up. I can focus now. Okay. But I
Yeah,
I, I thank you for that.
it is like it's very sudden how fast it picks
That
up
was
with
the
it
thing.
at the end.
I'll be honest with you, for how quickly it picked up, I was so not confused, but like, am I watching the same movie? Like, the spin was completely different.
Oh,
So, I mean, but again, all in all, like you said, with friends, if you got like a group of friends who like B-rated movies, to joke at, to make comments to, this is actually a really
oh
good film
yeah.
to do that too.
And I feel like it's one that most people probably haven't seen. In Is it's just not something that many people probably have heard about. I only heard about it because I was looking for our indie vampire movies, and I found that there's not very many vampire films that are not made by the big companies.
Oh, that's true. I mean, well,
Yeah,
I didn't realize how old it was, like what, 2015?
yeah.
And so for I'll say back then I was still watching these type of movies. I don't think it ever hit like I said, or Chiller Channel or any of those, thousands of
Mhm.
channels that play it. I do not remember this one
Uh,
populating. So
I
I think it had low marketing or something.
probably and I feel like Pedro Pascal wasn't very popular back then, so and like he is now, so there wouldn't have been a push to make this be have a lot of marketing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's
I guess
probably a big part of what most people wouldn't have heard about this film.
that is true. I did kind of recognize some of the cast, like of course, in different things. The intern I recognized, security guard, a couple of people, but they're not mainstream enough for me to
Hmm.
just know their name off bat. Like I know the face,
Yeah.
but not the name.
Oh yeah.
So I could see that happening.
Yeah. Well, there's not much else to really talk about this film. It's definitely not a very deep film. So I'm gonna start winding this down.
Okay.
I I want to give you the option I could do with most of my guests as to give me something kind of funny line you'd like me to say in an announcer voice.
Really?
Yes. So
Oh,
hopefully something related to this film.
that's exactly. How'd you know that's what I was looking for? Oh, let's see. Let's go to really quick to a quote we can get for you.
Yeah.
Let's see. An announcer voice. Oh, you gave me so much to work with. Let's see. Let's do. I feel like I'm torturing you a little bit. Don't laugh. Like I would just. Oh, okay. So either you can do. I'll give you a short one.
Yeah.
So you can either do. And I love Evan. You can do. God, this company sucks, which is a good one to close out on the movie.
Okay.
Or we are losing a lot of employees. I think that is really
Okay.
definitely punchlines the movie right there.
God, this company sucks.
Good job. All
We are
right.
losing a lot of employees.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I love your announcer voice, by the way.
Thank you.
But no, I appreciate it. And if there's another movie you are definitely
Yeah.
interested in, this was fun.
Yeah, and I'd love to have you on again. And you were a great guest, us, and so you're always welcome to come on, and I'll definitely try and get you on for another episode at some point.
appreciate it. I really do. Like I said, you gave me something to look forward to after work. It's a great way to cap off my evening. So other than that, you have a great one, John.
All right. So, oh, thank you everyone for listening. If you like this game analysis, please give a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or a 5-star rating on Spotify. I'd love to hear your thoughts on the episodes. Please let me know. Again, happy Halloween to everyone. And if you'd like to listen to more from me, please subscribe. Many more game analysis from me coming, so keep on the lookout. This again is your host, Smash John, signing off.